gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me on the line today we have Mr. Edward. Hello there, Eddie. How are you, old boy?
And good evening, Lord H. It's good to have you back, sir.
Oh, very nice of you to say so. I'm terribly sorry about my absence, chaps. I've been outlawing, not burgling or anything else that you chaps have been suggesting. And the mere suggestion, Beastie, that you've made that I would have bought my lordship is disgusting. I'm awfully angry with you, old boy.
Well, it wasn't me, was it? Was it me?
To be honest, let's blame Fudge. He's not here.
Yeah, it was Fudge.
He was the ringleader. We only went along with him because we're scared of him.
Yeah, he also told us that the reason you weren't being on is because you've got an outside toilet and it's a long way away. I think he said.
How very day.
I think he said it was Swansea.
And Beastie, how are you, old boy?
Well, I was all right until up to about Saturday, 5-3. I was fine. And then it all went a bit wrong, didn't it?
Absolutely. So, chaps, this discussion cannot be avoided. It's a very sticky subject, shall we say, at the moment, and it's one that's got the Wednesday fans divided. Of course, it has to be said, just at the moment, chaps, we're... what's the political way to put this? Pants. We can't string anything together at all. The team seems in somewhat disarray. People playing out of position. Chaps don't seem to be trying too hard. I'm lost, chaps. Let's start off, Beastie. Leicester came for a visit, of course. Rather strong connections with the Owls, shall we say. Of course, Mr. Marshall's there. Mr. Vardy, Wednesday night, through and through. And, of course, their gaffer there, ex-Wednesday superstar. I was expecting a decent game. We did seem to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Cautious about the game. But is it what you were expecting, Beastie?
Right. I'm going to try and put away my disappointment from the last two games and ignore what happened last night until we come to that. I was quite upbeat about us playing Leicester before the game. I thought we'd put up a reasonable fight. After the performance we put in against Forest, I expected a little bit of fight and a little bit of get up and go. And although we played all right in the first half and we seemed to match Leicester for much of it, and actually when they scored just before half time, I felt a little hard done by because I didn't think that we deserved to go in a goal down. But when we came out for the second half, instead of coming out ready and fighting and wanting to get that ball down at the cop end so that we can all suck the ball into net and really get behind its side, it just didn't happen. And it just went so dull. I mean, it was a horrible, cold, wet, freezing day. And the team, all they needed to do was to give us something, anything at all, to lift us, and we would have been right behind them, and we would have been warmed through right from the core, and it just didn't happen, and I felt so deflated, so down.
Yeah, you know what? That Leicester team, that first half, it was like they hadn't got out of neutral. They were there for the taking in that first half, and to be honest, the tale of the first half was, I think we tried. I think we came out strongly. I think we gave as much as we possibly could in terms of endeavour, in terms of positivity. And it was just the case that, as it has been this season, we lacked a cutting edge. We didn't create enough and we didn't finish enough. And when we conceded that goal, it was probably against the run of play to a great extent, but it actually kind of rubber stamped what we've been banging on about for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or more than that, which is that we don't take the opportunities that are given to us at the time that they are given. And we could have been in a fairly comfortable position in that game. 1-0 down was not a disaster, as you say. And the second half, you expect, again, we come out and we're sucking the ball towards that cop end. And like you say, they didn't show in the second half. And that was the thing that was really depressing on Saturday, was that we got into a position where, yes, we were 1-0 down, but we've been 1-0 down before this season. And we'd come out and given a strong showing of ourselves. And if we think back to last season, I can't count the number of times that we found ourselves 1-0 down and came back and made that game our own in the second half, especially kicking downhill towards the Kop. the second half was as spineless and spiritless a performance as I've seen at Hillsborough certainly since Darren Potter was transferred. So it was ultimately disappointing, and I don't want to take anything away from either Leicester's second half performance, which was impressive, and also Ben Marshall's goal, which was sublime, but we didn't show up for the second half. We made it very easy for them, in the same way that they made it easy for us in the first half, and we failed to take advantage, which pretty much sums up our entire season.
Well, I left that game, Eddie, and I felt really, really down. But by the time I got home, and certainly after I'd slept on it and got up the following morning, I felt a lot better, because I thought, right, fair enough, we didn't turn up, and we were well beaten by a very good Leicester side. You look, I watched their players on there, and every single one of them looks like proper footballers. They had quality in every single position, and like Ben Marshall were just absolute class.
Wasn't he great? Wasn't he fantastic?
It was, and I'll tell you, we noticed it when he was with us. He's not always in the game, but when he is in the game, he makes a massive difference. And just to underline that class that he has, that quality, right, he goes right through to his core, because when he scored that goal, he turned away with his head down, and the Wednesday fans, they were a lovely, warm. The only thing that were warm that day was the applause from all four sides of the ground for a great goal from a great player who showed class by not celebrating it. I thought that was wonderful. It was the only thing that warmed me through that game.
No, absolutely. And the ovation that he got when he was substituted, that's as warm a reception as any player. Probably. See, I remember when John Arks came back with West Ham, and he got a great reception. Rowley with Coventry, of course. And I think the Wednesday fans respect and remember what Ben Marshall did for us that first half of last season, put us in a position where we could do what we did last season. And he came back and showed us exactly what we were missing, because it was a performance that was fantastic. I honestly don't think that Leicester used him enough, because I spent a lot of the game watching him. Whenever they were on the ball, I was looking, where's Ben? And he was there or thereabouts, and they didn't use him as much as they could have done. He could have had a hat-trick. The positions he was getting into, the way he was using the ball, it was fantastic. And in a way, it's heartbreaking, because he's no longer in the blue and white stripes. But that's what we have to aspire to. That's the caliber of player that we need to get ourselves at the right end of that division. And also the spirit that we had when Ben Marshall was wearing those blue and white stripes. We had that team spirit together as well, and that seems to be missing as well now. So it was a real kind of object lesson in where we were and where we are, and what we need to do to fix this.
But like I said, I went home, I slept on it, and I got up, and I put it to rest, that game. Right? I put it to rest because I expect that Leicester side to be fighting out at the top of this division come the end of the season, right? And I can live with that. So I thought, I got all the fixtures out like we did last week on the show, and I looked again at where I thought the points were going to come, and I thought, what a chance we've got here. We can put that behind us straight away. Tuesday night, Watford at home, I'm right on board with that. That's 3 points for us right there. And I were all over it again.
Yeah, I'm very positive. Because again, it was another performance where we'd done, we'd competed, hadn't we? I know the second half was disappointing, but we'd competed. And we talked about this last week. This run of games that's coming up in December, and it started on Tuesday night, they're all winnable games. Very, very winnable games. We could see ourselves in a very different position to where we were fourth bottom on Saturday night. So, yeah, there was a lot of positivity, and it was almost strange going into Tuesday night, kind of feeling that we'd already turned a corner, even coming off the back of a defeat.
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't turn out like that on Tuesday night, though, did it?
Chaps, I mean, it has to be said, yes, I'm going to play devil's advocate this evening, because me, chaps, always full of positivity and Wednesday zest and all that kind of thing. But it has to be said, just to throw a few views out to the fans, first things first, Mr. Bothroyd, yes, he's had one or two good games out there. No, been plain to see. But there has been rumblings of him not working maybe as hard as he could have. Also, I mean, I don't know if you chaps saw it on the pitch as well, that obviously Mr. Buxton was busting a gut to make those outside runs, and he just didn't seem to want to pass to him. And is he working as hard as what he should be?
Oh, Jay Bothroyd. Oh, Lord. It's like Jay Bothroyd sums up this season. Our season has been a Jay Bothroyd, right? It's just like a deflating balloon. It's just one long sigh, right? I've defended Jay right from the very start, and he's been defended on this podcast loads of times. He's been booed by a certain section of Wednesday fans right from that very first game he played at Brighton, and they've not let him off the hook since. But the last couple of games, he's really played into the Blue Boys' hands, and you just can't really defend him. We all know he's a skillful player. He absolutely is probably the most skillful player at this club at this moment. But he's not the hardest worker. Now that's fine, right? We've had a few that have looked like over the years that have looked like they're not working hard. Chris Waddle never looked like he was working hard, but he had the tools. Chris Brunt, same again. Never looked like he was working hard. Always looked like he couldn't be bothered. But again, son of Waddle, he had the tools. Jay Bothroyd might not be in the same league as those two, but he has got
not be.
Oh, well, he has got the tools. That's the point I'm making. He's got the tools, but he just doesn't use them. And if you're not going to use them, then you really got to expect the wrath of the fans, and that's what he's got.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there, Beastie, with the comparison with Brunt and Waddle. He's not the same sort of player. You know, let's be honest. Even though we've played him out wide, he's not the same sort of player as either of those two. He's not an out-and-out winger. But when you're struggling, and Wednesday teams in the past, when Wednesday teams have been struggling, we look to someone to provide a spark, to provide that moment of inspiration. And Jay Bothroyd, like it or not, is the player that we've got who has that CV that suggests that he is the classiest player, the player who's got closest to being a big shot in this game. And as a result, he has a responsibility. He has a responsibility to kind of pull the strings a little bit with this team. And right now, whether it's tactics or whether it's work rate or whether it's simply that he's not as good as he has been built up to be, those last two games have really exposed him. And if he's to continue as a starter for Sheffield Wednesday, let alone as a player who we will remember as being part of a successful Sheffield Wednesday team, then some of those things need to change. I'm not going to say he needs to be like Lee Peacock. He needs to be running everywhere and clapping his hands over his head in a visible show of, look how hard I'm working for the team. But what he does need to do is accept that his role is to be the player who is most likely to create things. Actually get on and do that. Because if he doesn't do that, then he is nothing more than a busted flush. Chris Waddle took games by the scruff of the neck and won them, despite the fact that at times they were surrounded by players of, let's say, mediocre talent. And Jay Bothroyd is the fulcrum of a very, very struggling team at the moment. So with his experience, with his talent, he should be the one that is really taking this team by the scruff of the neck and doing something with it.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Eddie, with one word: responsibility. When you're a gifted player and you're playing amongst players who may not be up to your talent, you have got a responsibility to use that talent, right? And that's why I've defended him, because occasionally he went through a period where he was using it. Despite what some fans might say, he was using it.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been using it of late. And he has it's like that old thing. Whenever I say this, it always reminds me of being at school and the teacher telling me off. You've let yourself down. You've let us down. You've let your mum down. You've let the entire world down. It's just, you want to get hold of him. You want to shake him. And you want to say, Jay, use that talent, because you're not going to have it forever, mate. right? In a few years' time, you're going to look back on this and you're going to think you've wasted it. Now get out there and run the shit out of them lot.
And this is what amazes me as well about players who come to Sheffield Wednesday. Everyone says it's a massive club. You know, this is fantastic. These supporters, it doesn't deserve to be where it is, and blah, 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 blah. We've heard it 100 times. Sheffield Wednesday fans, we are screaming out. We are crying out. We're holding out for a hero. And since David Hurst walked off that pitch for the last time, we've been desperate for someone to hang our hat on, someone that we can really take to our heart and say, that's our guy. He's going to go down in that pantheon. You know, when Judge Fudge is talking about, you know, Gotchi Sidlowski, we know that in that first 11, that guy is going to be there. You know, we're desperate for a number 9. We're desperate for someone to be, you know, that guy. And he would dine out for the rest of his life. He would be able to make money off after dinner speaking. He would be a hero to 70%, let's face it, of Sheffield. So why these players come in and don't see that passion, see that desire, that need that we have for someone to be as idolised as, you know, as David Hurst, as Terry Curran, as all of these players, these great players that we've had in the past. Don't take that by the scruff of the neck and say, you know, bollocks to the rest of the team, bollocks to the idea that I want to, you know, be a good professional and help the squad and all that. Even if it's just a personal glory, there's players there that can actually do that, that can step up to the plate, and that they aren't doing that. You know, for me, it's part of this malaise that is now affecting the club, and I don't know why it's happening. But these players should know that they could be gods around here, and this is not a small place to be a god.
I think Jay Bothroyd's entire stay at this club was summed up in the following game, in the Watford game. Everything that could go wrong for Jay Bothroyd went wrong for him in that game. And it went beyond that. It showed no energy after they scored, and then when he did try to make up for some of the mistakes that he was making, it was too little, too late, and the fans had already turned by then. And that last shot of his last night, in the 485th minute, in injury time, last kick of the game, 8 yards out. If that, just all he has to do is hit the target and he puts it over the bar in Rose Head of the Cop. That summed him up. And he just stood there with his head in his hands, and so did the rest of us. That one moment there just summed Jay Bothroyd's career at Sheffield Wednesday up, and it was so deflating. When you go out on a limb and defend players like this, and then they let you down, it's just so deflating, isn't it? It hurts even more, I think.
You know, we're a positive bunch, aren't we here? And, you know, we're not talking up players for the sake of it. You know, we believe, and we want to believe, and we see the positives in players, etc. And you know what? This is not just about Jay Bothroyd. You know, this is not a character assassination. I sat there last night, and I can remember the last time I actually felt as deflated as this watching Wednesday. And it was actually a Friday night match against Watford. And guess what? It finished 4-1. It was live on Sky, and I watched it. We were staying down with some friends of ours for the weekend, and it was the start of the weekend. I was really looking forward to seeing our mates and, you know, having a really good weekend of it. And just seeing a capitulation by a Wednesday team like that. Tuesday night was exactly the same. It really has knocked me. For someone who has been resolutely confident and resolutely positive and has always wanted to paint a positive picture, when I'm feeling as down as I am about Sheffield Wednesday, I know there's something that you know that's not right. And I'm sure there are an awful lot of fans who aren't as glass half full as me, who are, you know, quite clearly thinking about kind of, you know, packing it up and putting it in the box again until Wednesday can show a little bit more that's going to entice them back again. And that's sad, because that's all the momentum from last season gone, and that's all that goodwill gone. You know, we're starting from scratch again now. We're starting right from a baseline of Tuesday night, freezing cold, Darren Potter taking 3 corners, and putting them in the phrase of the first man every single time. We are right back at that level now, and so there's a fight on for everyone from Milan Mandaric down to take this club back to a position where we are moving forward, because this is a low ebb right now, gents.
But when you go to a game like that last night, you put the game against Leicester behind you. You're up for it, despite how cold it is, despite how damp it is, despite how depressing it is. You're up for it. You think this is 3 points, and then you get a goal in the first 5 minutes.
Amazing,
right? You think this is it, and just to make it even better, you finally get a penalty.
Unbelievable.
Right? That is rarer than a goal. And we got a penalty. And from that moment, with that one miss, everything went from that game for us. It was just like the life was sucked out of the entire game. And we never recovered from that moment.
Yeah, that penalty I don't want to say it was a sucker punch. Do you think that it was the right decision letting Lindsay in his first half an hour back from injury, or first half an hour starting back from injury? Should he have taken that penalty, especially with the amount of delay that there was there, treating the injury before he even got to take it?
No, absolutely not. I turned to Young'un and I said straight away, who's taking this? And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, Lindsay's got ball. She said, well, it ain't going to be him. He never takes penalties. I said, he don't want to be taking penalties. He's hardly touched the bloody thing for months. And the longer it went on, I thought, he's taking this. He's taking it. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it that they want another player on that pitch. Right, fair enough. Bothroyd were off, getting sorted out for his injury, whatever that was, so he couldn't take it. I'm pretty sure if he'd have been on, he would have taken it. But he can't tell me that there's somebody on there that's been playing regular that hasn't got the stones to step up and take that and just leather it into the middle of next week.
Especially seeing that, for that entire kind of 5-minute period, Almunia was there giving it solid banter.
I know.
I don't know what he was saying. Presumably, I'm going to save this easily. I've played in the Champions League, mate. I know exactly what's happening with penalties. What we would have needed at that point would be Miguel Lera to stride up and absolutely dominate the goal.
Right. So why didn't he step up? We know he can welly a ball. Why didn't he step up? And you're on about Almunia there, Eddie. I said the same to Young, and I said, look at him. He's psyching Lines out here. Yeah. There's no way on earth, right, that Lines is going to score this because he psyched him out. You could see Lines' body language. Almunia were confident. He were buzzing. He stood right over on one side as if to say, I know that you're going to put it here, right? You watch football all the time, right? Keepers do that all the time. I'm absolutely 100% sure that is where Lindsay was going to put it, right? I'm sure he was going to put it bottom right-hand corner, but yeah. Almunia stood there and said, this is where you're going to put it, really knowing it changed his mind.
Yeah.
And he had. And as soon as he stepped up, you could see it. It was just dreadful. And I was at the opposite end of the pitch, and I could have strolled over and saved that. It was that bad. I was fuming at that. I was really fuming because, like I said earlier, you could feel the energy drain from the Wednesday fans. We'd waited so long to get a righteous penalty, and we'd been given it here on a plate. We had no complaints. The ref saw it. Fair enough, there's been complaints about it. He should have been sent off. Fine, he should have been sent off. That's irrelevant, right? Stick the ball in the net and wear the head. And we can build on that because it's half-time. And you could feel it drain from everybody. It was horrible. It was a horrible place to be for the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It was horrible.
So that's Watford.
Are you sick of the team right now? Well, have the Wednesday week got the thing for you. The Disgruntled Fans album. Tonight we were trounced completely. They ran around us so freely. All right, we're shy, and I really hate the guy. but I love Wednesday tomorrow. With exclusive tracks from Dave Jones himself. Just say it wasn't you. Before the game I tried to get the chaps up and ready for war. The fans they wanna see players I haven't got the budget for. How can I get the lads to bust a gut for me? What can I do if this club is plagued with injury? Or are you a chilled out angry fan? Try this, the Wednesday flow. Let me yell when we go behind a goal, or let me screech on the terrace every week, or let me wail. I'll come break down your freedom of speech, does allow me to abuse you all I want. The Wednesday, the Wednesday, the Wednesday, the Wednesday, the Wednesday, the Wednesday. Or do you just want to back your team, back the shirt, no matter who's in charge, and back the players? Well, try this, chaps. It's Wednesday. Oh, Wednesday, Wednesday. Gotta get behind the Wednesday. Because on our support they depend. Wednesday, Wednesday. Gotta get behind the Wednesday. We've got to shout for the lads at the weekend. Do you want to hear more disgruntled tunes? I can't hear you. Well, listen in at the end of the podcast for an exclusive tune, Wuthering Wednesday, written by Hollie, Beastie's Young and Beastie, and sung by Jeremy Dawson, JFD, to those that know him. Much better than that Phil from Lord H. I say, old boy, steady on. Just speaking the truth, old boy. So pick up your copy of the Disgruntled Fans album. And don't forget, ladies and gents, listen in at the end of the pod for the full-length exclusive of Wuthering Wednesday.
Where do we go from here? What's the way forward for Sheffield Wednesday at this point in the season?
Well, sorry, go ahead, Beastie.
No, go on, Lord H. You try and be upbeat. I'm just getting more depressed by the minute. Go on.
People tend to do that in my company, old boy.
Yeah, you said that to me before.
The simple fact of the matter is, I mean, obviously, it's been bandied about now that people are wanting Jones out. This is very, very difficult because I know that this is going to fall very badly on my shoulders, and people are going to bag me for this. But the simple fact of the matter is that we need to back everything. There's no other options here, right? The reason that the players have got no confidence and that they aren't playing as well as what they should be is because they don't feel like they're being backed properly. And there's only one real bunch of people that can do that, and that's us. Right? And for us to back the players, we need to back the manager. And I know that I'm going to get pelters for this, but I make no apologies for this whatsoever. Simple fact of the matter is, yeah, Dave Jones, he's had a torrid time. Some of the players that he's brought in aren't good enough. We've had some iffy injuries, we've had some awful little bits and bobs here, there, and everywhere. But the simple fact of the matter is that we need, as Wednesday fans, as fans of this club, to back our team, to back our club. And if you don't want to back the players, and if you don't want to back the manager, then for goodness sake, back the bleeding shirt. We need to shout. Imagine that you're at work tomorrow, and whatever you do, whether if you give someone the wrong change, or if you press the wrong button, or you cut somebody off at the lights, and there's 25,000 people there screaming at you, because we've made a little mistake. And fair enough, it might start off as a little mistake, but then you watched, and every time you do something wrong, and you've got all these fans screaming at you, and it's going to knock your confidence. And this cannot happen anymore, chaps. We need to back our team. And there's only one lot that can get us out of this, and that's us. It's as simple as that. And if Dave Jones has lost the dressing room, and then... which it doesn't look fantastic at the moment, but then we need to back. If the players aren't feeling like they're getting backed from Dave Jones, then they need to they're getting backed from us. So we need to be there for them. It's as simple as that. The whole point of this is support. We need to support our club now more than ever. And if you don't want to, beggar off somewhere else, because it's as simple. There's no point in going just to boo. Why? Why go? Why go to vent your frustrations at a team that aren't doing very well? You need to back them. It's as simple as that. Back the shirt. Forget the players. Back the owl on the shirt. And if you don't want to, naff off.
Right. Well,
Are you napping off now? Is that it?
It's difficult. You know, right, I'm like Eddie, right? My glass with Wednesday is usually half full. I always go to a game optimistic. It drives the young one mad because whenever anybody says, what's the score going to be, I always say something like daft, like 5-1 to us. Regardless, right? We've been at, how many games we lost in a row now? 5.
5.
We're going out of Cardiff on Sunday. Somebody will ask me, what do I think? And I'll say, we'll win 5-2, right? And I'm telling you now that when I say that, right, I know everybody thinks it's barking, but when I say that, I mean it from my heart. I think we will win. I always go to a game believing that we will win, right? I try and stay upbeat all through every game, and I try not to let things get to me. I try not to let what's happening on the pitch depress me too much. We've all seen this loads of times. I've been going 40 years to Hillsborough, and it never seems to change, right? It's just one long road of shit interspersed with moments of pure ecstasy, right? But by and large, the most of it's crap, right? So I try not to let that get on top of me, and I try not to be swayed by the crowd. But that last 45 minutes or so last night at Hillsborough was horrible. A lot of it was to do with the fans, and they were getting on the players' backs, and a lot of them left, right? And before the end of the game, the stands were virtually empty on all 3 sides, virtually empty. And it was like in those last few minutes, right, the cop found its voice again, and there were a few lads at the back. Oh, I doffed my cap to, because they were absolutely fantastic, and they started singing, "We'll stay to the end," right? We're Sheffield Wednesday, we stay to the end. And believe it or not, I took a lot of heart from that. I was feeling as maudlin as chuff until that moment. And they were right, and they really lifted me. And I felt as good at that moment as I have done in ages. And that is exactly what we do as Wednesday fans, right? We stay to the end, and we get behind the team, right? I know it's all cliche stuff, but when Dave Jones has gone, when these players have gone, even when the saintly Milan Mandaric has gone, we will still be here. Us, the Sheffield Wednesday fans, we're the only constant. We will still be here. And and I agree with you, Lord H, we have to support them. And whilst anybody's at this club, I'll always support them. But it's not easy. It really ain't easy at the moment. And I sympathise with those people who have got the chuff on. I really feel it. Anybody that's got the chuff on with Jay Bothroyd, or rested players, or Taylor, or whatever, I understand that pain. I understand when they've got the chuff on with Dave Jones because of this, that, and the other. I understand it, right? I really do. But we've really got to get behind them. And I think on Sunday, well, I hope we do on Sunday, and I hope the team respond to that and give the travelling fans something to really, really cheer about.
I'll tell you what, if there's anything that deserved an evocative music bed, probably involving strings, then it's that speech there, Beastie.
I haven't rung out.
Tissue for Beastie?
You know what, I can't add anything more to that. I think we all know, and in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, it doesn't matter how bad this season gets, this is still better than we've had it in a long, 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 long time. And that's not to say that, that there haven't been great moments. That's not to say that I'm satisfied with where we are now, because, we do deserve more, and we do want more, and we strive for more. But being bottom of this league now is not the same as being the bottom of this league in 2008 and 2009 and that sort of time, etc. We're now in the early stages of a project that's going to drive this club forward back to where it belongs. And this is, as Milan Mandaric said in his statement in the last couple of days, this is a hiccup. This is the obstacles that you have to pass to get to where you want to go. So no, it's difficult. Of course, it's difficult. We don't want to see Wednesday losing, but it's part of the process. This is part of getting to where we want to go. And if there's one message that I want to actually get out there to the fans, it's that saying Jones should stay or Jones should go it's a fairly short-term kind of view. It's a decision that is made on the basis that, in theory, another guy's going to come in and somehow make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Now, whether that happens or not in the short term is fairly irrelevant. What we've had over the last 10 years or 15 years at Sheffield Wednesday is a complete lack of stability. We've had a manager for each season, and that has to end at some point. And we can't really, it's lovely to think that we'll finally find the manager that's going to take us through winning season after winning season after winning season and build a dynasty at Hillsborough. And maybe that'll happen one day. But for the time being, what we actually need is a manager to actually start at the start and take the process through without being cut off at the knees, without being given the vote of confidence, without being, told by the fans that he has to leave. We need to have trust in one fellow to look at what we've got, the raw materials that we've got, and even if he doesn't get it right first time, stick with it and work with it and make it work by the end of a season, by the end of a 3-season span. If we go down this year, come back up the next year and compete the year after, then we've actually achieved what we wanted to achieve. It's not the way that we want to go about it, because there's not a lot of glory there, but it's still achieving what we want to achieve. So as much as I have to try and put my natural affection for Dave Jones to one side and try and look at this objectively, and it's difficult to do that, I think that objectively, Dave Jones is as good a man as any to go through that process. So if in 2 years' time and 3 years' time, we've got through this and we're looking up again, then everything is fantastic. But all I can see, if we get rid of Dave Jones now, is a little bump, a little push, a little bit of positivity, maybe half a dozen games or a dozen games where things start to look better, and then we run into the exact same problems that we have had. So I, for one, am backing Dave Jones to the hill, and I trust in him, and I trust Milan Mandaric to do the right thing to drive this club forward in the long term. You can't look at it in 1 week or 6 weeks or 6 months even. You can only look at it over a long-term trend. And I tell you what, in 2012, at the back end of 2012, we are looking so much better than we did at the back end of 2009. So for me, there's still thumbs up and I'm still positive. If not about the stuff on the pitch, I'm certainly positive about the direction of the club. And that's the way that I will continue to look at it. And that's why I will continue to keep turning up at Hillsborough and cheering on the lads. Because we can do this and we will do this. The jigsaw pieces don't fit right now, but they will.
I've got to be really honest with you. Everybody knows my views on Dave Jones. I love the bloke. I think he is a proper bloke. He is it's a top human being, if you like. The stuff that he's been through is ridiculous. But
he's a role model.
He is. But I've got to be really honest with you here. I do not think he will be our manager at the end of this season. In fact, I don't think he'll be our manager at Christmas. I've got to qualify that because I want him to be. I want him to be our manager for years to come. I just think there's too many fans now not on side with him, and I think that some of the damage is irreparable. And I think this Cardiff game has come at a really bad time for us. We could have done with Cardiff 4 games down the road, but it's come at the wrong time. And I really, really do fear for Dave Jones in this job, and I'm absolutely convinced he won't be here at Christmas.
Let me ask you a question, Beast.
Well,
do you think Milan Mandaric either A, shares the views of that minority of Wednesday fans, or even majority, I don't really care, of those Wednesday fans, and B, do you think that he thinks that he has to respond to what...
Can I add a C onto there?
Go for it. You're the boss, Lord.
And C, do you think that Milan's just looking at the profits that come into the club, and if Dave Jones is spoiling that profit, then bye?
Right. Milan, none of us can second guess Milan Mandaric because many football fans have tried to do that at different clubs and they've all been left with egg on the face. He's just an impossible man to read. He gave Sousa the vote of confidence at Leicester, and then 4 days later he was on his way. So I really, as much as I appreciate everything that Milan's done for us, and I like the bloke, I like the direction that he's trying to take us in, even though we all know what his ultimate goal is. I wouldn't try and second guess the bloke, because if he thinks that Dave Jones is pissing on his parade, then Dave Jones will go. And
no, his parade is wallet.
Yeah, well, as much as I like Milan, it wouldn't surprise me if he came out and made another public statement, and then an hour later, Dave Jones were gone.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The thing that gets me with a lot of Wednesday fans about Dave Jones is the frightening thought of, if we get rid of Dave Jones, the alternatives to Dave Jones. And some of those alternatives are frightening. And I know that because a lot of Wednesday fans are hurting at the moment, they're not thinking about these things properly. Because a few months ago, none of them would have entertained the likes of Billy Davies or Phil Brown or even Glenn Hoddle, right? But now, because they're at the wit's end and because they've had enough, they're throwing all these names into the mix. And it would undo everything that we've done in the last 2 years. And it would unravel everything that we're trying to achieve. But it wouldn't surprise me if one or even all three of them turned up next week and were our manager. Like a triad. A Sheffield Wednesday triad.
Oh, I can't get any worse. Right, so if I'm being perfectly honest, chaps, I'm going to lay my cards on the table and people can come at me if they want. Simple fact of the matter is, 1, I want Dave Jones to stay. 2, I don't trust him, not in the slightest, because he's not earned that trust yet. Okay? But he has got a proven record. It's that simple. Now, you look at some of the players he's brought in, such as Corey and McCabe and Kieran Lee, and players like that, and they're not players for now. I don't think that Dave Jones wanted those players in that team at this point. I think they was expected to be blooded in the developmental squad, and I think he's had to push those players into that team for reasons that maybe aren't his fault, and that's a problem. Okay, those young players are now finding themselves into a situation where they have got no confidence in their abilities at all because they're being booed. And that is not Dave Jones' fault. That's our fault. It's as simple as that. It really is as simple as that. So yes, I do want Dave Jones to stay at the club. Do I trust him? Not at the moment. But one person I do trust, strangely, is Milan. Because he's the only one person that's always been absolutely upfront with the Wednesday fans. He said in his statement, look, if you want me to go, just tell me, and I'm off. Simple as that. It's not a threat. It's just that's how it is. And he was honest with us from Megson. He said, trust us. And yeah, maybe Megson would have got us relegated. And obviously, Jones and Megson, completely two different managers. Megson has clearly got a passion for the club that Jones maybe doesn't have for Sheffield Wednesday, but he certainly does have for football, even though he doesn't show it in his slow, mithering, god-awful Scouse accent. But it's proven. He can do this. And yes, it's frustrating, but we've just got to give him the time. So, chaps, keep him here. I'll back him. I don't trust him, but I'll back him.
Did you two hear his Dave Jones interview on the radio after the game last night?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what did you make of that?
Again, just like I said earlier, James Jones passed the buck to the players. Simple as that.
Well, I thought he started off really, really well. I thought he... to be fair, I think he's right, passing the buck on to players, right? Because some of the mistakes they're making, you can work for a year on the training pitch, but as soon as they get over that line, they shouldn't be making them errors, right? You don't train to cut out them errors because you should know them. These are seasoned players; they shouldn't be making them mistakes. He's right to throw some of the onus onto them.
And why are they making those mistakes?
I've no idea.
They're terrified. Absolutely terrified.
No, I disagree with you, Lord H. I really do disagree with you. This has been going on from the start of the season, right? Not just now when the fans are getting on the backs. Think back even when we're to the good times when we were winning games.
The days.
And we were still conceding 2 goals a game. And the reason for that was basic schoolboy errors at the back, and we talked about it on the podcast every week. There were stupid mistakes, and now they're costing us even more. And that isn't down to Dave Jones. It's not even down to coaching. It's down to those individual players. And yes, you can't see this on the podcast, but I'm waving my hands about like a lunatic, right? And I'm getting all het up again.
Calm down, Beastie. Somebody give Beastie his pill.
Right. My problem, I felt good about what Dave Jones was saying. It was all going well. And then Paul Walker seemed to press some buttons for him. And he mentioned about the fear in the players and that he'd seen it here before. And Dave Jones latched on that and straight away said, oh, you've seen it here before. And he wouldn't let it go. Well, if you've seen it here before, then it's not down to me. And I really felt he got drawn into that and he got led down a path, and I don't think he covered himself in glory on that bit.
That's one of the points that Dave Jones was making, and maybe, yes, he didn't put it the right way, and the only reason, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to have a go at our fans. The reason that our fans are like we are is because we love this football club. There's no other way to put it, and just like you said, Beastie, there's only one thing that is always here with this football club, well, two things, shall I say, and that is Hillsborough and us. That's it. That's the only two things that are always exactly the same. And it has seen it before because this has happened before, and which is why it cannot happen again. And we need to support. That's the very word we need to use, and we need to support our players. Yes, they're shocking. I'm not saying that they're not, but I'm saying they're not going to get any better while we're screaming at them.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. You know I am. I've never booed any of our players. I don't boo the players. I don't boo the manager. I don't chant for them out and all this rubbish, right? That's not me. But you've got to feel the. I know it's difficult this because I do feel the same pain as those fans. We all do. We all feel the same pain. It's just that we all deal with it in different ways. And what we need to understand is everybody goes on about this, don't they? This we're all Wednesday, aren't we? War. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? And we really need to embrace that, right? No matter what your feelings are, whether you hate Dave Jones, whether you hate Jay Bothroyd, any of it, we're all Wednesday, and we really need to embrace that now and put it behind us.
Chaps, I think we've ranted enough.
Well, I hope that we never, ever have another show to do as downbeat as this, because I don't know about you, but it feels like a pet's died or something. Do you know what I mean? I feel drained. I feel emotionally wrung out. You've done me tonight.
I beg your pardon.
Be cheerful then. But we're going to end the show on a positive. Reason to be cheerful. What is it? Come on.
Well, my reason to be cheerful from last night was Anthony Gardner's performance before he went off. Thought it was fantastic.
Yep. Antonio always delights me. People can say what they like about him, but when he gets that ball, regardless of the other 10 players on the pitch, that lad gets his head down and he tries to please the crowd. And I love that about him. I really do.
Oh, I wish I were talking about on-the-field activities. However, I've just finished all my Christmas shopping. I managed to buy every single member of my family a signed Owen Morrison poster.
Oh, you nasty, nasty man. Are you the Grinch?
It's going to be a great Christmas in the Eddie household.
Oh, well, if we're talking about off the pitch things, can I recommend to everybody the iced mince pies from Morrison's? They are lovely. I can download a barrel of them. Barrelful.
Oh, was I right in saying that Mr. Laws was back at Hillsborough last night as well, chaps, signing copies of his new book?
Well, I missed him.
Not to worry. I'm sure it is available, so please go and buy it. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was in the shop signing. Personally, I didn't go and get one or see the chap, but I'm sure it's a thrilling read. I'm sure it is.
Well, never mind buying his book. If you look just to the right of where they sell the books on the same shelves, I think it is, they're selling all that merchandise where they took pictures of the crowds from last season, and there's a picture of yours truly on the wash bag, the wallet, the passport holder, the key ring, all that stuff. You can have me as part of your life. What would be better than that?
Saying no one wants to sit where I sit, no one wants to go where I see you on a match day, Beastie. Anyone who comes within 20 feet of where you sit, you chase them off like a You're like, no, this is mine. This is my spot because I'm not going to get my photo taken at least 30 times a match.
Well, last night there was a guy, I've forgotten his name, it was a double barrel name, but he's a photographer. Apparently he's the top football photographer in the country. He's got an exhibition on at the National Football Museum at Manchester. And he came over to us last night and he said, the photos that I took of you last season against Wickham are now being exhibited at the museum. So there you go. I, Beastie, of the Wednesday Week podcast, have got into a museum before I've died. I thought it'd happen eventually, but I thought I'd be mummified or something like that. But I'm now in a museum. Right, and he came over to take some more photos of us. And I even did, because, as you know, I'm good at these poses. I said to Hollie the young'un, I said, I'm going to do a pose for him here if they score. And they scored, and I did that Kevin Keegan thing. You know that game against Liverpool when he slumped over the railings like he'd had his strings cut? And I did that, right? And I laid there, and I was watching him out of the corner of my eye, trying to see if he was taking a photo, and he wasn't doing it. And I sat there like that for 10 minutes. With my arms dangling over the front, and he wasn't having it. And I gave up in the end. I think they scored another 2 goals while I was doing that. When you're a media whore, you've got to perform for the public.
So, chaps, let's be positive. Let's look towards the future, and our future lays in Cardiff away. It's difficult to see us coming away with something from that game, chaps. But like I say, we do need to back that shirt. We do need to back our players. I mean, looking at the positives from those games, let's not kid ourselves, chaps. It's going to be tough. But Eddie, what do you think? Are we staring doom and gloom in the face, or do you think the chaps are going to, after the performance just the other evening, are going to come out swinging?
No, not at all. This is the game that Dave Jones has been waiting for. He knows them like the back of his hand. I suspect it's probably going to be double figures to Wednesday. So I'm going to go conservative. I'm going to go 13-0.
That's the spirit, old boy. Beastie, what do you think, old chap?
Oh, God, no, I'm depressed. I think we'll get thraped. No, I'm kidding. As I said earlier on, I always think it's going to be 5-0 or 5-1 to us, but seeing how Eddie's been just stupid about it, right, it's clearly going to be 15-7. It's going to be a game of the century. Can you imagine, right, what the podcast and the Wednesday fans would be if it was something stupid like that? 15-7, right, especially if we came back from 7-0 down. The turmoil in the Wednesday fans. Can you imagine somebody with a camera taking photos of the faces at 7-0 down, then at 15-7?
We're not having this. We're not turning this just into your ideas of what football is about, which is just getting your photo taken. But Beastie's experience of watching Wednesday can be summed up in the 700 photos of his face. Him like a flick book. He's just happy. That's it.
You say that like it's a bad thing. You make it sound dirty.
Jealous because you're so bloody photogenic. Tell you what, if I look that good at 80, I will.
Look, I've told you before, right? It's a gift and a curse, right? We can't all have this, and, sometimes you've got to perform for the public like a paid puppet.
So, chaps, let's look forward. Obviously, Christmas is on its way. It's a time for cheer and a time for joy. And let's face it, chaps, we do need to back this club. And let's do hope that the fans that go up to Cardiff do just that and show us all how it's done. So, chaps, I think that's around about it for the Wednesday news for this week. No apologies for it being a little bit of a downbeat show. Of course, that's how we're all feeling at the moment. But as I say, if you do want to get hold of us and give us your views on things, or by all means, come and speak to us on the podcast. We are rather erratic at the times that we do record this thing. We don't have so much of a set time, shall we say? But please, by all means, get in contact. Come and have a chat with us and tell us your views. Doesn't matter where you're from. Come and tell us your views. Eddie, if people want to argue with your views this evening, where can they get hold of you?
Oh, yeah. I'm more than happy to argue that. It's Twitter, as always, at Sausage Arms. And I apologise this week if I don't get back to you. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather. I know Fudgy's not here tonight, but Fudgy he's been a great help this last week. I haven't been feeling too well. He keeps offering to take my temperature. The way that he does it seems to be quite a strange one. And I can only assume it's something to do with the fact that he lives in Brighton these days. But in any case, who saw, I'll respond at Sausage Arms on Twitter.
It's the continental way to take a temperature, old boy. He's a well-travelled chap.
I have that done twice a week, whether I need it or not. I ain't had a bad temperature for about 18 years, but I still get it done.
You can never be too careful, old boy.
No, you make it sound so dirty, Eddie.
Beastie, where can people get on you, old boy?
Well, you can try me at #FudgeIsAGirl or #FudgeIsASouthern Jessie because any of them two will do. Failing that, at Beastie_ on Twitter, of course, and then over at owlsalive.com.
Oh, fantastic. Of course, ladies and gents, you can get all our information to get hold of the podcast is over there at the brand spanking new website, www.thewednesdayweek.com, and you will see all our details on how to get hold of us on Twitter and Facebook and everything else over there. Of course, you can send a lot of abuse my way after what I've said this evening over there to Twitter, and that's at Lord H, that's L0RD_H. Get hold of me over there at Twitter, and of course, Fudge isn't here this evening. Because he's off doing fudgy type things. But if you do want to get hold of him over there on Twitter, it's at Fudge and Dave, and we've still yet to meet Dave. Oh, very strange.
I thought that was his name, Fudge and Dave. Well, that was his surname, like, Gary Fudge and Dave. Like, well, like Dutch or something.
Oh dear! Somebody please give Beastie his tablets. So, chaps, Ryan cry for Brighton. Then let's give it some welly boys. Let's show the Wednesday fans how it's done. After 3, 1, 2, 3.
We'll win on Sunday, of course we will.
That's the spirit, oh boy. That's the spirit. So then, ladies and gents, that does bring us to the end of the show. And don't forget, when we have finished our expert analysis, at the very end of the show today, there is an exclusive song for us that was written by Beastie's Young. That's Hollie, Beastie's Young and Beastie, and sung by a fantastic chap. Absolutely beautiful voice. Goes by the name of Jeremy Dawson, or JFD, to those of you that know him out on the boards out there. It's a fantastic tune. I implore you to listen, and that's going to be coming on instead of our normal outro music. So, ladies and gents, all that remains is for me to thank you very much for joining us this evening, and we shall see you very soon.
After promotion, we want more. We don't want bottom 3. Why are we fighting with Bristol City, Ipswich and Barnsley? Premier League, is that where we belong? We want you, we hate you, we love you too. Bad dreams in the night, they told me we were going to lose the fight. Leave behind the championship defeat. But Wednesday, Billy will come home now. Jones gives the team time to grow. Defeat. But Wednesday, Billy will come home now. Keep Jones, give the team time to grow. Oh, it gets dark, but they're your team. There's no other side for you. We whine along, we shout along. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? So turn it round now, cruel Wednesday. My one dream, my only passion. behind the championship defeat. When they believe we'll come home now, keep Jones, give the team time to roll defeat. But when they believe we'll come home now, keep Jones, give the team time to roll. Oh, let them have it, back 'em up, at home or away. Oh, let them have it, back 'em up, at home or away. You know, it's me, Wednesday. Defeat, but Wednesday, believe we'll come home now. Keep Jones, give the team time to grow. Defeat, but Wednesday, believe we'll come home now. Keep Jones, give the team time